Welcome to the OC, bitch.
That's not the name of our show.
Welcome to the OC, bitch. That's how we do it in Orange County.
Are you not blowing the mic up?
Whatcha say?
I told you that it's time to start the show.
That you only meant well.
Yeah, the show's gonna do
Of
well.
course you did. Whatcha say?
I said let's go.
That it's all for the best.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like the best podcast.
Whatcha say?
God, do I have to keep repeating myself?
Just what we need. You decided this.
Hold up, I thought we
Whatcha
both
say?
decided to do this.
What did she say?
I said let's start the show.
Hello, and welcome to Whatcha Say? An OC podcast. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I'm Scott Daly.
And together,
We're the Dailies. I'm glad we get to do that still. So happy.
You're welcome.
Welcome to the first episode of our brand new podcast, diving deep into the OC.
Diving deep.
The most important teen drama that took place in Orange County in the mid-2000s ever.
The only one?
The most important one.
And only.
Today, we kick off the show with Season 1, Episode 1, appropriately titled Premiere or
The
Pilot.
The pilot. It's called The Pilot.
The name of the episode is Premiere.
Are you sure?
Yeah, at least I did my research.
I thought it was called The Pilot.
Well, you were off doing day jobs. I'm here pounding the OC research. At least I'm excited.
You are? Why are you so excited?
Because this is the first time I've gotten to do a new show
in so long.
in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I feel like Doof Media has been expanding. We've been bringing all these new shows in. But this is the first time I've gotten to launch a new show in forever.
Well, yay. So
I know.
If this is your first time joining us, hello. We're a married couple that used to do a married couple podcast called Vow to View, which is what Scott's referring to. And that was all about the movies that married couples force each other to watch.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really like forcing because we had the show. So it was like a reason to watch.
The forcing was the vows you took at the altar, which one of them I believe specifically was you must watch all the bad reality television that your wife makes you.
I did make sure I included that.
You can make her watch science fiction movies that she probably wouldn't see
Read another
otherwise.
sci-fi book this week.
We did that show for a whole 70 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and then we kind of started running out of ideas. We ran out of films.
It's not that we ran out of films. I think we ran out of like films that were related to each other.
Sure.
I think that's the point.
So we decided to watch trashy TV instead, because of course we did, because that's what we do.
Because Elyse loves trashy TV.
Indeed.
Yes. So each week what we're going to do is watch one episode of the show, The OC, and then come on here and we're going to talk about it.
In order, from number 1 to number 92.
In order from the premiere,
Yeah.
the pilot, to the end.
Elyse has seen this
Where
show.
everyone dies.
Spoilers. Elyse has seen the show many times.
I have. I've seen it a lot. And Scott's only seen it a handful of episodes from the first season.
So regardless of whether you are an OC newbie or an expert like Elyse, you can catch this wave with us. Was that a good beach surfing reference, Elyse? Was that good?
No, but you tried.
Was that good?
You tried.
Did I do a good job?
No, but you tried.
Just give it to me. Just give it to me.
I'm not going to give it to you when it's not deserved.
Fine.
That's what's wrong with the world, Scott. That's what's wrong.
Oh, the OC podcast just swerved into the politics podcast.
So before we get into this episode, though, what we're going to do is my favorite part of our old show, Vow to View.
Yeah, we're bringing it back.
Wasn't gone very long, but I knew that this is what everyone was worried wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
And it's the Rosies and Thornies.
Every rose has its thorn.
Has its thorn.
Just like every night has its dawn.
Dawn, dawn, dawn.
Every cowboy sings a sad song. Every rose has its thorn. Yeah. Jesus. So what does that
Rosies and
mean?
Thornies show. So something that is beautiful, Scott. Something that is nice and lovely that people are supposed to enjoy. A flower, a beautiful rose. Every rose has something prickly on it, has a thorn. And so it teaches us that even though there is always beauty in the world, there are always going to be some other things too that might not be great.
So each week we talk about the good and the bad of our week, the best thing that happened to us and the
high
worst.
And the low. Yes. Are you going to go first?
Sure. We start with the negative because
we do. We start with the
want to
negative.
get that out of the way, and I'll go first.
Got it.
My thorn this week is my day job. And
Why?
not because of any specific reason. I just, we've been really busy here at Doof Media. We brought in a new show. We brought in 2 new partners. We brought in another new show on top of that. We're starting this new show. We've got all these plans in the works. We're about to hit another Patreon goal. So we're about to have to start up a new show. It's an exciting time. I'm excited about it.
I'm glad.
And then I go to work during the day and I'm like, eh. And I'm not saying I'm very appreciative. My day job allows me to do this. It allows me the time and the income to be able to do this on the side and build this company, which I love doing, and it's so great. But I just don't care about any of that stuff, Just don't care about it. So
I get you.
I just sat at work today. And I was in meetings a lot today, and I was just like,
meetings are the worst.
just like I just don't want to be here. There's like so many other things I could be
I get
doing
it.
that I would love so much more. That unfortunately makes me so much less money.
It's okay.
One day I'll win the lottery, and then I can do whatever I want.
You're not going to win the lottery if you don't buy tickets.
Oh, is it nobody?
Yeah.
Nobody told me that.
You better be buying those tickets.
Oh, I guess I
Scott.
should start doing that.
I think you should.
Okay.
I think we shall.
Well, that's my thorn for the week.
That's your thorn.
What's yours, Elyse?
Okay, so on Saturday we went to this baseball game because whenever
The
we
Texas
were younger,
Rangers.
Yes, Texas Rangers played the Minnesota Twins, and I forget how long ago it was, but my dad took all 3 of us little girls. So my older sister, I think she was about 6, which would mean I'm 3, and we have a newborn, my little sister. Anyway, so we're at the game. And it's just my dad and us because I don't know why, decided to take all 3 girls to the baseball game
That's a
without my mom.
lot. That's a lot.
Yes. So anyways, we're watching the game and Kenny Rogers is pitching and it's the
Not
ninth
the musician.
inning. Not the musician. Yeah. He's pitching and he's had a no-hitter up until, the 9th inning. And every inning, my older sister Adrian has asked to go to the gift store, has tugged on his shirt the entire game asking him to go to the gift store.
Is this your thorn?
I'm explaining why we were at the game.
Oh.
Anyways.
It's a long explanation.
So it was this no-hitter game. We were in the gift store whenever the actual final pitch was thrown for it to be a no-hitter, and my dad missed it because we were in the gift store. Anyways, so long story. So we show up to the anniversary of this game because my dad wants to get these bobbleheads, and the game starts at commemorative bobbleheads for the last final season.
For Kenny Rogers. The Kenny Rogers perfect game bobblehead.
Okay, so we're at the game, and we get there super early because we have to make sure that we get the bobblehead.
Gotta get the bobblehead.
But the game doesn't start until 7:05.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to our seats, like maybe 6:50, 6:40, something like that. And they're setting up for something that's going to go on the field. Actually, I think they were introducing a few people.
They were
introducing a few people, and there's this Hall of Fame for the Texas Rangers ceremony that was going to go on before the game. Anyways, longer story. The game didn't start until 10 till 8 because this ceremony ran way too long, which meant that the game was
pitch,
forever.
First pitch was at
7:47 that was supposed to be at 7:05.
And the first inning took about an hour because the Twins scored 6 runs in the first inning.
Yeah.
The Rangers scored 2, I think. But it was like the first 3 innings took 2 hours. We left at the end of the 5th inning, and it was 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. That's why we hate baseball.
Yeah. Well, it's just so, I mean, Josh Hamilton was getting into the Hall of Fame.
Which, who cares? He left the Rangers. He was,
he came back. Remember, he had that one redemptive season.
It's fine.
Look, Josh Hamilton has struggled with drugs and alcohol, and I've never heard him speak for a long period of time. So I don't know if this is just the way he talks. He sure was acting like he was drunk or on something.
I don't know. Anyways, so the game started super late, and that was my thorn.
Let's just say at 5 o'clock, we were there. It was 102 degrees with a heat index of about 109, 110.
Oh, did you pull it up and look?
I did, because I was hotter than shit. And we were on
you wore a gray shirt. It's bad color.
We were on the 3rd level. The sun, luckily, we got lucky by the time we went to the seats, we were shaded. But just our walking around the stadium, oh my God, it's hot.
Yeah, it was hot.
All right.
Anyway, so what was your rose, Scott? What are you excited about?
My rose, there's a dog licking my foot right now.
That's your
dog is it?
rose.
Which
You
dog
love
is it?
that the dogs lick your
No,
feet.
I
Which
hate-
dog do you think is licking
it
your
my
foot?
dog?
Yes.
Um,
Our dog. Scott.
That's how I differentiate them. One is your dog.
Our
Okay, well, if I said, is it our dog?
They have names.
That would not have helped.
They have names.
My new rose is our new artwork for the show.
It's really nice.
As of this point right now, we have not seen the final version of it. It's not quite done yet, but we saw a mock-up, and I love it. I love it so much.
Is it going to be ready for tomorrow?
I don't know.
What if it's not?
I just emailed her. Then we're just going to publish without artwork.
What?
I know, very unprofessional, but what can I do? It was a friend of a coworker of my sister's who did this artwork. And I think we're gonna put a link to her stuff in our show notes forever.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
you'll be able to see her, and she's been great to work with so far, and I loved what she came up with, and I think it's
made us look real good.
Look, I like all of our artworks at Doof Media. I like all the designs, some of which I've done, the best of which I have not. I think this is the best one. I really like it. I really like it.
Because we're in it.
Yeah, it is
It
because
is.
it has my
It
face
is.
in it.
Yep.
So
Mine too.
that's my rose. I just
Okay.
love how that came out. I'm so happy about it. It
I'm
excites
excited
me
to
about
see the final
project.
copy.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
So my rose, Scott,
Mm-hmm.
is that first of all, my sisters were coming in, and I was very excited, and we were going to have sister dinner because we were going to go see The Good Boys on Friday.
Uh-huh.
And then
We
you were
have
like,
not seen
no,
that yet."
we can't go see that because I have a meeting at 9:30 and I have to be back in time.
Okay, but
So I was like, whatever, that's fine. We're gonna have a sister dinner. So we go to sister dinner, then we walk in, and at 6:45, the reservation's at 7, and I'm like, guys, the table's probably already ready. When we walk in, let's just get our table, not go to the bar, because they were like, we'll just go to the bar.
you're really burying the lead here.
Yeah. Anyway, so we go and we check in, and the what do you call those people up at the front?
The hostess?
Yeah, the host. The host was like, "Oh, are you here for your party? It's a birthday party, right? A surprise party?"
This
Yes!
freaking guy.
It's a surprise party for
frickin' guy.
me. Anyways, he had
Yeah,
spoiled it, but
so-
it was fun.
yeah.
I was glad that we finally were able to get everyone together.
I don't do good with surprises. I don't do good with keeping them, especially to you, because I like telling you everything.
Uh-huh.
So it was very hard to not tell you, especially when you're like, so your aunt and uncle came into town last
weekends
weekend,
ago, yeah.
and you knew that your parents were doing something for your birthday because they hadn't done it yet, but didn't know when or where, and so they were coming in to see you last weekend because they were not going to be able to make the surprise dinner.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you that. And you're like so frustrated. You're like, what, why is this happening? I don't understand. And I'm just like, I can't tell you. And then I had to tell you, no, I didn't want to go see a movie, which is, I really thought that was going to bust
No,
it
it
right
didn't.
there.
I was like, oh,
because
he just
I'd
wants to
never
make
say
sure that
that.
he's here.
Yeah.
Anyways, in
But you had a
hindsight,
good time? You had a good time?
Yeah.
I
We
mean, it's been a
asked me
month.
on a Wednesday. So, what do you think about surprises, Elise?
But I worked it. Don't you make it seem like I spoiled it for you. I worked
didn't
it. I
spoil
worked
it.
it naturally into the
But
conversation.
it's funny in hindsight.
Yes, of course
Yes,
it is. Of
it's
course
funny
it
in
is. Yeah.
hindsight. Yeah. So, anyways, those are Rosies and Thornies for this week. And now we're going to move on, Scott.
And you know what? One of our listeners and one of my good friends told me that they do roses and thorns around their dinner table now.
That's
It's
so
my friend
sweet.
Sammy. Of course, they don't call them rosies and thornies because if they
What?
did, they would owe us money because we own that phrase.
We do now?
Well, I've said we do, which is like 9/10 of doing it.
Okay.
You know, you just gotta.
I think you really need to do it.
Okay.
Please.
I don't know if I.
You know, Ohio, is it Ohio State? I forget what college it is. They're trying to trademark the word "the."
like the Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's annoying as hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, maybe look at your week and think about your roses and your thorns. I promise you what this does is actually make it seem like the worst parts of your week actually weren't all that bad.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, it is time to get into the main event, and it's time to talk about the OC.
The Oak.
So, Elyse, tell me about the OC. What was this show? What are we doing?
So the show started when I was in high school, and my senior year, I would have an off period. Really, I was done my senior year at lunchtime. I'd go home at lunch. I'd spend the afternoon.
There's no
going
way
and
the
doing
season,
whatever.
the show started your senior year.
No, it didn't start my senior. It was on during my senior year. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Anyways, so I would go home and I would have lunch or whatever, and I'd hang around the house until I had to be back up for drill team. So, flipping through the channels like what I normally do, I stumbled upon the Soap Network.
Ooh.
And the soap network every day when I got home would play the OC.
Interesting.
Yes. And there was always 2 hours of the OC. So there were 2 episodes back to back. And then the next day it was sequential. And so it would be the next 2 episodes. And so I started watching it and I really liked it. And then after I started watching it and really liked it, I got my little sister to start watching it with me and she really liked it. And then so it just ended up getting to be this big thing.
Okay.
I hadn't seen it I didn't start at episode 1. I started, I forget at what season. And then it reached the end because I graduated with the graduating class of this. So like I graduated in 2007 and this ended in 2007. And so when my senior year had rolled around, it had just like finished the box set released or whatever. And so because I loved it so much, my best friend from high school, she gave me as my graduation present the boxed set of all the DVDs to the OC. I was so excited. And then I would keep watching it then from start to finish. Then in college, my sophomore year, my favorite year.
But you still haven't told me what it is.
It's a TV show about, I don't really care about, it's not about the TV show. It's about the experience of watching the TV show. That's my history with it.
Okay. There's a whole thing I wrote on the script.
But you asked me my history with it.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
I asked.
did.
No, I did not. I said, "What is the show?" You assumed.
Playback, rewind. Okay, so it's a teen drama that ran on Fox for 4 seasons from 2003 to 2007. It was created and run by Josh Schwartz, who also created and co-created Chuck, Gossip Girl, one of my other favorites, and most recently Dynasty and the Marvel Comics Hulu show Runaways, which we tried to watch and weren't really into it, or I wasn't. It stars Peter Gallagher, Rachel Bilson, Ben McKenzie, Misha Barton, and Adam Brody.
So I have a question before we move back into the thing that you thought I asked you about that I didn't. I mean, all these people got more famous because of the show. I mean, you know, Peter Gallagher beside, because he was already pretty well known.
Well,
but I don't think any of them have achieved like superstardom. I mean, Misha Barton had her own struggles. Adam Brody did well for a very long time.
Yeah.
Rachel Bilson has worked in TV successfully since then, basically. She's led like 2 other shows. Ben McKenzie led one other show, I think, called Southland. I don't know if you ever watched that show. I watched some of that.
He was also
show.
in Gotham.
Oh, yeah, he was in Gotham. Yeah, so I mean, I think they're mostly like regularly working TV actors, which in the acting game is pretty damn successful. Yeah. But I think Adam Brody probably the most successful. Is that crazy to say?
I think he was the most successful whenever it came out, and now he's been doing like indie movies here and there. Yeah. So I don't know if he's been working as consistently as the others, but I would think that his work is the most famous.
Yeah, during the run of the show and immediately following the end of the show, he was a star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rachel Bilson, the other show that she did after this, and
Heart of Dixie,
also created by Josh Schwartz.
Is it?
He did Heart of Dixie.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Ben McKenzie, you said.
Misha Barton is currently on the reboot of The Hills.
Yes, which was based off of the OC.
Yeah, but is a reality TV show based off the OC.
Yeah, so fitting.
We'll maybe have to do an episode on that.
I've never seen it before.
Neither have I.
Yeah. So anyways, that was my high school experience. Then in college,
right back into it.
In college, my sophomore year was my favorite year of like all of my roommates. And we had these neighbors that were really fun that lived upstairs. And so we had 6 girls living in an apartment and they were 4 boys living in an apartment. And so 2 of the 4 boys loved the OC, and we would all come and watch the OC, and they would just sing the theme song at the top of their lungs all the time.
Well, it's
and
a really good
all
song.
Did it. And it was fun. We watched the whole series again together, and I've just been watching it, periodically ever since. What about you, Scott? What's your history with the show?
So I graduated from high school in 2003. In the spring of 2003, the show premiered in fall of 2003. So I was out of high school when it came out, but I was in college, and I lived in a private dorm in college, not like an on-campus dorm, like a separate dorm. Yeah, it's Michael. Michael didn't want to live at the dorms.
He is snooty.
Yeah, I know. And so our hall, we lived on the 3rd floor. And like, I think out of any hall in that dorm, we were the one that was like the most communal. Like everyone kind of had their doors propped open at almost all times. And we would just kind of go in and out of each other's rooms. And I don't remember who exactly it was, but there was a group of guys that would watch the show, the OC. And I sat down and started watching it with them. And I never got like super, like, I don't think I made it like, you know, this is back when you had to, the only way you could watch TV is like being there when it was playing.
Or recording it on a VHS.
Right.
So, or TiVo.
So I don't think I was ever watching it like that. But when I saw my buddies watch the OC, and that's why my history with it is really mixed, where I've seen some episodes, like I know how some plot lines that go throughout the first couple of years, but not all of them. The one thing I will know is that Summer, Rachel Bilson, became like it is for our character Seth Cohen. I'm not going to call it an obsession, but I liked her a whole lot. What are you doing?
What word's that next to number 1?
Okay. Are you really? Do you really want to?
It's fine. Sorry, continue.
Call me out on that.
Rachel Bilson. Talk about Rachel Bilson. I'll have you talk about that later. Sorry, guys. I knew that it was called Pilot, or the Pilot. So I looked it up on IMDb. And next to number 1, it said Pilot. Wikipedia, Scott. Who is the author of Wikipedia? Anyone? Anyone can be the author of Wikipedia.
How do you think IMDb works?
It's not Wikipedia.
It's the same way.
No, it's
not. Yes, it is.
Not for the titles of shows.
Yes. Okay, Elyse. Okay.
Sorry, Sky. I interrupted you talking about Rachel Bilson and how much you liked her.
Okay. Yeah. So I liked Rachel Bilson a lot. And that's kind of why I would, when my friends were watching it, I would tune into the show. She's very pretty.
She's very pretty.
She's a brunette. I was always a brunette dude.
I'm a brunette.
As you can see by looking at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked Rachel Bilson. I really like Summer. And also I think part of that was obviously identifying with Seth Cohen, which is a character that I think a lot of people related to very strongly, and is why the show did as well as it did.
The creator of the show based his character off of him.
Indeed. So that's my experience with the show. I've never seen the last 2 seasons. I know about the titular Whatcha Say moment because it became pop culture like craziness with the SNL skit. So I know what happens in that scene.
Okay. So I'm going to preface this for everyone and say, if you have ever watched this show before, then please, in any of the discussion on Patreon, do not spoil anything because Scott does not know. He does not know who dies on the show. He does not know who officially ends up together. Mm-hmm. So, literally, do not spoil anything unless he has talked about it.
Yeah.
And if you do, I'm going to be really upset at you.
Oh, God, Elyse. Yeah, I mean, this is spoilers, only the episodes we've watched, right? So, this episode, only spoilers, episode 1.
And if I'm, serious,
episode 1
you're going to be banned if you start talking about stuff that you shouldn't be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
No, you're not.
Okay, so Scott, let's go ahead. And what we're going to do for these episodes is we're going to talk about the episode, kind of give a little bit of background, and then we're just going to go through it and talk about the main parts of the show. And then we're just going to kind of talk about our reactions with it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
we're just going to go through it.
Okay, Scott. So the first episode of the OC, written by Josh Schwartz, directed by Doug Liman.
Josh Schwartz being the creator,
writer, sometimes director, I don't know, the show.
I don't know about that.
Directed this episode by Doug Liman, originally aired on August 5th, 2003. 2003, what were you doing?
August 5th, 2003, I was preparing to go to college. And I might have been, I don't remember, when does college start?
In August.
I was probably on my way or in college.
Okay, so the beginning of the show, Scott, we open up and there are 2 brothers. 2 brothers that are important to the show. 2 brothers that are not key to the overall ending of the show.
And Abel.
We have Ryan and Trey. Enter Ryan and Trey. Background on the wall. Chino to set the scene. Car in front.
The
Trey
type of
and Ryan.
pants. So they're wearing.
Yes, they are wearing chinos. Pants and chinos.
What are
You wear chinos.
I wear them all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're called chinos.
I don't know why they're called chinos.
Were they made in Chino?
I don't know. You'll have to look that up. Anyways, so while he's doing that, Trey takes Ryan over to the car and he's like, "Hey, brother, if I don't teach you this, nobody will."
Oh,
and
it's
you
a
know
type
what?
of cloth. I don't think any chinos are actually made out of chino cloth anymore.
Maybe it's a certain stitching style as well. Anyways, so Trey's like, "Hey, brother, I'm going to teach you this because nobody else is going to teach you this if I don't teach you this." And Ryan's like, okay. And then, you know what? Trey breaks open a window and Ryan thinks, "Oh my gosh, no, not this." Enter cops.
What is that?
What?
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, he's in the car, and you could tell that he's
he doesn't
concerned.
want to. Trey is like partying down in this
Yes,
car.
Trey's
He's like
not
having
excited.
the time of his life, and
Yes.
Ryan has that Ben McKenzie pensive and worried face where he's just like,
I knew I shouldn't have done this. I'm a good boy, I am.
or
That's
am
his
I?
thought. Yeah.
I'm a good boy, but also I'm a bad boy. But maybe I'm just a bad boy about being a good boy, or a good boy
You know
about
who
being a
you know who
bad
good
boy.
people could be?
Huh?
Cops.
Cops.
Cops could be good people.
They could be bad people.
You know, in this part, they're good people though because they pull over a stolen car.
Yeah, good
and
job.
they take Ryan and Trey to jail. Trey to actual jail because he's over 18. Ryan to juvie. Enter Sandy Cohen.
Sandy Cohen. Is
Yes.
Sandy short for something?
I
Sandra?
don't remember.
Is Sandra Cohen?
His name's not Sandra.
His name is Peter Gallagher. The
Yes.
amazing actor Peter. Those can we need to have a whole
The
segment
eyebrows.
of the show committed to how are Sandy Cohen's eyebrows doing today? And in episode 1 of the OC, Sandy Cohen's eyebrows are doing a very nice.
You know, I hope you don't get offended by this, but you know, your eyebrows are almost as good as Sandy Cohen's.
Look,
I mean, they've got a nice bush to them.
I'm not offended because Sandy Cohen's eyebrows move mountains.
Yes.
I agree
Those
that
caterpillars.
I'm not there. I'm just not like
They're not quite the butterflies yet.
Here's the problem. I think
Are they in the
think-
cocoon?
I think like you get to a point, right?
Yes.
Where like really bushy eyebrows get gross, but
Yes.
then they reach like a saturation point where they stop being gross and start being amazing.
When they're combed
Yeah.
and clipped.
Yeah, Peter Gallagher in the it's passed above gross into amazing. Me, I'm hanging out into that they call it the valley of gross.
We could comb and clip those. Do we need to do that?
I think what's going to help is mine are they're starting like Sandy's are like a
A dark.
they're a salt and
pepper?
peppery.
Yes.
And I think when I generally become more salt and peppery, maybe I'll be a little more. I mean, he has amazing hair too, so it's really not even fair.
He's just so handsome. So you know what else helps? The salt and pepper look.
What helps?
It helps when you are a lawyer.
It
When
does.
You're trying to
A
seem
public-
established.
a public
A
defender.
public defender assigned to a juvenile who is not going to be thrown in jail for 3 years like his brother because
First
he's
offense.
16. Yes.
16 years old,
Yes.
terrible grades, but that SAT score, baby.
Yes. So Ryan meets
98th
Sandy,
percentile.
and that is what Sandy is so excited about. Sandy is shocked that despite all of this behavior, that it's only his first time to have any sort of offense. He is extremely smart. Attendance not great, but when he is in class, he is intelligent.
98th percentile on the
Yes.
SAT ones.
Yes.
Is there an SAT 2? What is an SAT 1? I thought there was just one SAT.
I don't know. But how, Scott, other than that, do we know that he's intelligent? Because they
Because-
have to tell us.
Because the show draws it out for us in the most hilarious way possible when Ben McKenzie's Ryan starts talking about Social Security in this
Yes,
amazing
like all
quote.
good high schoolers read about Social Security.
Well, he does read about it because he's smart. And he's not just smart, he's worldly. And it's just he's grown up on the wrong side of the tracks like Sandy Cohen did in Brooklyn.
Ugh, it's a good thing that he's got Sandy as his mentor and father figure now.
Can we read this? I'm going to try
Yes.
to...
Do you want to read it or do you want me to read it?
I feel like you should read it. But
Okay, I'll read it.
But one thing we haven't decided on the show is whether or not we're going to put clips in. And we technically own all the DVDs of the show. So if I got like a burner, I could rip the show to my computer and then I could dump in clips wherever I wanted to. Not sure. That might be a little overproduced. So if I can find this one on YouTube, I'll just put it in. But if I can't, here's Elise's dulcet tones.
And I'm much better than
reading
Ben
this-
McKenzie anyway.
Reading this Ryan quote.
Modern medicine is advancing to the point where the average human lifespan will be 100. But I read this article which said Social Security is supposed to run out by the year 2025, which means people are going to have to stay at their jobs until they're 80. So I don't want to commit to anything too soon.
And then he gives Sandy Cohen like a look.
Yeah. Side eye look.
Yeah.
It's always the side eye with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
2025.
yeah.
That's
it's coming up, isn't it?
Fuck.
It's a good thing we have him to remind us about Social Security.
Yeah.
So we learned about the relationship already through there with Sandy and how much he wants to help Ryan out
like a-
because he sees
He's
the
like a
potential.
daddy. Well, yeah, because
Yes.
he I mean, he says this verbally, but he was Ryan as a kid.
Yes.
He was a stupid kid that did stupid things, that grew up at the bad part of Brooklyn because he's from New York and came out to the OC. And so he sees in
And little Ben.
little Ben McKenzie
Yes.
himself, and he wants to save him. He wants to be a Superman.
But you know who doesn't want to save him?
Who's that?
The woman who birthed him.
Yeah.
The mom comes to pick up Ryan from juvie after Sandy meets with him, pulls up, just, like pops the curb, comes out disheveled with her jacket halfway off to yell at him and say, you're going to end up like your father and your brother in prison. Gives us background information. Thank you, show writers, on where his dad and his brother.
Let me tell you something about the OC. It doesn't deal with subtlety. The bad people are bad. Yep. The good people are good. That's
You're
it.
in one category or the other. There's no gray area.
So let's officially put Ryan's mother into column bad.
Yes.
Ryan's mother,
yes.
bad.
Why else is she bad? She kicks her son out.
She does.
She chooses her boyfriend, who does absolutely
who beats
nothing.
The shit out of him.
Yes.
Punches him in the face. Poor Ryan gets punched like 8 times in the first episode.
And not only is he punched, but he gets hit, and then Ryan does this thing where he grabs his shirt,
and then he's
just doesn't even try and swing or anything. He just grabs it so that the guy can get a really good swing in. He's really, really smart. Yeah, it's those street smarts. He hasn't got him yet. Yeah. Doesn't know how to steal cars. Doesn't know how to set up the fight.
Knows a lot about Social Security.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So then he gets kicked out.
Yes.
And then who's he going to call? He calls a buddy.
Ghostbusters?
No.
Sandy?
No. He calls a buddy, but the buddy says, no, you can't come live with me. And then Sandy Cohen had given him a card.
Ah, that golden ticket. Willy Wonka, that's Sandy Cohen.
You know what I think is the main problem with this episode and therefore this entire show?
Yes.
The lesson appears to be steal a car with your brother. Go live with rich people.
I didn't ever see that was the true lesson of this whole show.
So kids, if you're ever in a rough area, you're in a rough part of town, your family doesn't care about you, steal a car, and then your public defender hopefully is married to a rich woman.
Please do not take any life advice from Scott Daly.
So you steal the car, make sure you get caught, because if you just steal the car and don't get caught, well, then you just got a car. But if you get caught, then you
get the family.
Then you got a boat. Then you got a boat.
A sailboat. Yes.
So anyway, Sandy shows up and he takes him to
Sandy shows up.
The titular.
And then the best part of the whole series happens. California, here we come, right back where we started from.
So the thing about pilots, Elyse is getting better because she pulled back from the mic before she did that. And then she was flat on that note too, baby.
Yeah, I know.
So usually pilots don't have the theme song in it because pilots usually don't have an opening credits sequence. It's just not something they standard have. And this does not have the same opening credit sequence as every other episode will have, but it still rocks that music. And I think I like the song in this moment better than I kind of like it in the intro because it's
I understand that.
It fits what's happening.
It does.
So
it
well.
does. Because they're going to California, OC.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they go to Newport Color
Beach.
shift.
Color shift. Doug Lyman, great director. Shifts colors. It's warmer now.
It's warmer.
Softer.
Yes.
It's richer.
Richer, like the people.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes, both. Yes. So, rich person, Sandy's wife, Kirsten. Sandy gets his money from his wife.
Yeah, that is one thing the show does establish.
Yes.
That Sandy Cohen, public defender, not rich.
Not the reason they're in Newport.
Kirsten Cohen, rich.
She's the reason they're in Newport.
I believe it's not until next episode that we learn where her money comes from, which I believe is real estate, but we don't know that in the pilot, right? Yeah, I'm making that up. Okay. Sure.
I agree to that, yes. Okay. But she's very unhappy, Scott. She's unhappy because her do-good husband is trying to do too much good.
Too good.
And
but here's the thing. She plays the antagonist in this episode, right? Yes. She's the one, I think that we watched the commentary of this episode too, and she's the one they said is saying no to everything that's happening. So she's the antagonist of the episode. But I get it. Because, if I went to work today,
yes,
and came home, 5 o'clock, and said, surprise, I got this guy, he was in jail for stealing a car, and now he's out of jail, and I brought him to live here because
stranger danger.
You would be upset.
I would be.
You would be upset.
I would be. But you know what they do in this episode that I think really makes teen dramas more successful is they establish a parent relationship that you care about.
Yeah, I think if shows are just about the parents or just about the teens,
Yeah,
I think
it's
they're
not
boring.
as successful.
And I think you're right that the show cuts between the parent drama and the teen drama, and like there's drama between the teens, there's drama between the parents, there's drama between the parents and the teens.
So much drama.
It's
Makes sense why it was on the soap channel, right?
Drama.
Yep. Yes. So while Sandy and Kirsten are working out their marital issues, yes, Ryan decides to walk out and prove himself of good character by smoking. Yes. So he walks down. He pulls out a cigarette and, oh my, looky there. Who does he see but Marissa
Cooper.
I wanted to say Misha Barton, and I was like, I can't say that. I have to say the character. Marissa Cooper.
Played by Misha Barton.
Played by the Misha Barton.
And she's on her cell phone.
Waiting
texting.
her boyfriend.
Yeah, so the greatest line in the show, though. Let's reenact it. So you be, of course, you be Misha Barton.
Why can't I be Ryan?
Well, fine. You want to be? Okay, I'll be Coop. I'll be Coop. So
yeah.
Who are you?
Whoever you want me to be. See, wasn't that much better having me pretend that?
It was a lot better.
Thank you.
That's the cheesiest line ever.
Yeah.
The thing I like about that is you kind of get the feeling that like he's like still doing his brother's moves, right? Like I feel like that's a tray.
I also feel like he not, I guess, necessarily is trying to do this because he knows James Dean, but they're trying to make him like the James Dean type character.
Well, he's wearing the wife beater, and he's like talking about like he tries to be cool to her, right? And he's like, she asks, what he's doing here, and he's like, I stole a car, Mr. Cohen. Actually, my brother stole a car. I was in it when I crashed. And he's like smoking and like blowing the smoke out of his mouth, all cool, and he's like trying to be cool, but he just kind of looks like a dork.
Very awkward.
He's like a dork.
He looks very awkward.
He's a dork.
Yes.
Here's the thing that
But Marissa digs it.
Well, here's the thing that I think about this is interesting because he's trying to be cooler than he is, and she bums a smoke from him. And I kind of got the impression, and maybe this is just me, that maybe Marissa doesn't smoke that often, but she literally just bummed a cigarette because this dude was smoking and she wanted to be cool.
You know a little bit
him.
about that, don't you?
No. No. Me and Elijah love smoking together.
I thought so.
I asked Elijah Wood for a cigarette once because I wanted an excuse to talk to Elijah Wood.
Classic Marissa move.
It is. I really am the Marissa of this relationship. We'll track that going forward. So yeah, they meet. And yeah, you're right. She's into it. She's into it a little bit. There's a spark. There's a spark between these two characters.
Not just that cigarette.
Not just the fire of the cigarettes, but of their loins.
So this ends because Marissa gets picked up by her awful boyfriend, Luke.
I don't want to talk about this guy very often.
Okay, let's just end it.
He's a douchebag.
He is.
Puka shells. Douchebag.
Raised truck. Awful.
F-750.
We don't like him.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the next morning, Ryan wakes up, walks into Seth. Elyse wakes up and walks to say good morning to Scott. And he's over there playing video games and decides to invite his newfound friend to play video games with him.
It's
only to destroy him by not clearly explaining the rules to the video game.
Who is this newfound friend?
Scott Daly.
The one and only. Wait, no, it's Seth Cohen, babe.
No, it's
the one and only
basically
Seth Cohen.
No, it's you.
I want you to talk to me about Seth Cohen because did we say this already? You love.
Oh my gosh, Seth Cohen is like
Cohen.
the epitome of my perfect.
Adam Brody, Seth Cohen. Dorky. Yeah. He's dorky. Like here's what I said while we were watching the show.
And it's true.
Seth Cohen in high school 2019 would be one of the coolest people in the school.
He would be.
He would. And what they said on the commentary was that he's the type of guy who, as soon as he got to college, would be super cool, but is going to be dorky in high school. But I think present day, he's cool in high school because he's got like all the nerdy shit that he loves has become mainstream and is just shit people love now. He's got a great taste in music, like a clearly defined taste in music.
Comic books.
He likes comic books. He reads. Like
sales.
He's fast talking. Like he's actually
witty.
very witty and clever.
Yes.
It's just no one will give him a chance because they see him as a nerd. But you know who does give him a chance? Mr. Ryan, because they're brothers from another mother.
Yep. Indeed. Truly another mother.
Or maybe the same mother. Soap operas. No, I don't.
I don't know.
think so.
Anyways, so yes, established their fun relationship.
I love him.
Then to only deepen by not just playing the video games, but going sailing. Now,
I love that moment where Sandy shows up and is like, Seth, why don't you show Ryan around? And he goes, oh yeah, because there's like so much to do in this town, Dad. And then like hard cut to them sailing on the ocean.
Yeah,
because that's not anything.
It's a rough life they have there.
There's a little first world problem there, Seth Cohen.
Now the problem isn't that they go sailing. The problem is
the name of the boat.
The boat.
I want to talk about this for a little bit.
Yes, because you know how much I love Seth,
and I
you know
love
how much
Seth
he's
too.
So endearing,
and you know how much I love
goofy
Summer
and awkward, and yes, I do.
And how much I love Seth's love for Summer.
Yes, but there's a line.
However, this is the first of many part installment of Is This
Seth
Creepy? Because Seth Cohen has named his boat. Summer Breeze is the name of the boat. Named by the text.
Maybe after the song.
The boat is named after Summer.
Really? Yeah.
And he's never talked to Summer in his life.
Well, I mean, he has once, I think. Don't they say that later in the episode?
No, they said that the time he talks to her in the end of this episode is the first time he's ever spoken to her in his life. And he's in love with her from afar. And there's a certain bit of hopeless romantic to that I appreciate. He tells Ryan about this trip to Tahiti he wants to take next summer. He's going to take the sailboat out and just go to Tahiti, but Summer's going to be with him there.
But not the real Summer.
No, yes, the real Summer.
No, he thinks that, but it's.
But he has a dream. He and I love that. There's a little bit of confidence in that, right?
Is there?
I think there is, because he is lost. He is nervous. He is awkward. He has not worked up the courage to talk to this girl. But in some part of his mind, that sees this dream of Tahiti, she's there with him. And so there's almost this bit of confidence that says, when and if I work up the courage to ever talk to her and to start this relationship, she will reciprocate. She will be that person for me. And I don't know. There's something romantic about that. Naming the boat after him, no, though, I am going to say creepy with a capital creepy.
Is Seth creepy? 1 point.
Yes.
For that tally.
This episode, Seth is indeed a creepy.
Yes. So after we have their brother relationship established, we then cut to Marissa's family.
Yeah,
so we spend a little bit of Marissa, the Coopers.
Would you say we hang with the Coopers?
I would.
Hanging with
good job,
Mr. Cooper?
So the Coopers live, again, right next door to the Cutwins.
Yeah.
And we get a deeper look at her family whenever Marissa goes to answer the door, and there are some suits there. Now these suits are from the SEC.
The man.
Not the football SEC.
No, the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Yes, thank you. I didn't remember what that was.
The people who investigate and charge people with securities fraud.
So if you know that they're bad suits for Jimmy.
When the SEC comes knocking at your door, it is not to tell you you're doing a great job in business.
To do exactly what Jimmy does and hide.
Yes.
You want to have a daughter like Marissa in this case, where she's like, no, my dad's not home. And then goes and tells her dad, they came for you again, Dad. And he's so thankful that she, shooed them away, which goes to show that yes, Marissa and her father have a wonderful father-daughter relationship. She really likes him. They're both the kind people of the family. But every kind family has to be balanced by some mean family members. So Scott, there's some people that are not very nice to Marissa and Jimmy.
Yeah.
And who are those people?
Those would be her sister, played by, what's her name?
Shailene
Woodley.
Yeah.
And her mother, Julie Cooper, who
Jimmy
is
and Julie.
Terrible.
Why is she so terrible, do you think?
Because she's every bit the traditional rich socialite you would think she'd be, right?
Yes.
Throughout this entire episode, all she's talking about is clothes, and she insults Marissa in those very kind of roundabout ways where it's like, oh, why are you wearing your hair up? It's just
too harsh.
It's
on
very
your angles.
harsh on your angles.
Yes.
And then she says, I hope you wear this other dress later. It's very forgiving, right? It's this is very kind of passive aggressive and so the show is established right away. there's some tension here. And Shailene Woodley's Caitlin, seems to be just like mama's little girl.
Yeah.
Like Coop is daddy's girl, and this chick is mama's girl.
And I think that Marissa's mom is very much like that because she's jealous of Marissa.
Ooh.
In this episode, don't you
Ooh.
think? You know, like she's all there
Her
fixing
youth.
her hair and all of that, and then so she can degrade her daughter and make her feel better about herself.
I think you're right. Because Coop's got the youth,
Yes.
and all the boys after her.
Yeah.
And all she can get is Jimmy, the SEC fraudster.
Yeah. So one other way that they highlight Marissa's beauty is the fashion show.
Fashion.
Yes. This is the fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser.
All Newport
Every year they do this. They do this.
Yes. They have a fashion show.
It is so ornate, so elaborate, so huge for a high school fundraiser.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane.
You know, I was in a fashion show for college.
Was it like this? Was it exactly like this?
No, but I did get to wear a really pretty dress.
Was it like the dress that Summer wears?
No, it was prettier.
Ooh,
It
pretty.
was a formal dress. Yeah, it was really nice. So Ryan shows up with Seth and his family to the fashion show. And Marissa's, introducing. And then whenever she goes back to change and comes back out again, she does her little walkway strut. Stops at the end, looks over the shoulder.
She gives Ryan a look.
There's Ryan. Smile, almost side-eye wink at him, but not quite wink. And Marissa's boyfriend sees it.
Yeah, he does.
And that is where we see some more building tension between Luke and Ryan.
Drama count,
Yes.
7 million.
Yes, but we also see someone else at this fashion show for the very first time, Scott. And who might that be? Your favorite?
My love, the sweet, sweet Summer.
Yes.
And I say sweet, sweet. What I actually mean is bitchy and terrible. Because here's the thing about Summer. She's not a good person in this episode. She's actually quite a bad person in this episode.
But we love Seth and Seth loves her. So why is she not so good?
Well, because the show didn't know it was going to go this direction in this episode. Because
yes.
Rachel Bilson is a guest star in the first few episodes of the season. She was not ordered for a full season. She does not become a series regular until much later in the show.
Actually.
So I don't think that when they were crafting the pilot, I don't think they thought Summer,
we're going to keep her around.
Yeah, I don't think they thought Summer needs to be likable because I think they thought they were going to move on from her. So they kind of, just like, we were talking about the show has no subtlety.
Yes.
I think they put Summer in the bad column because throughout the show, she's super mean to Seth. She's like hands all over Ryan, like super inappropriately. And then Marissa Cooper gets so wasted she passes out, and Summer's one of the two girls that just like drops her off in front of her house and
is
then
laughing
just
about it.
leaves her
and then
there.
you totally see her underwear.
Yeah. And then she goes, Chino, L. So yeah, Summer in this episode of the show, not a good person.
Very
I
likable
watched
person.
this Summer and I was like, why did I like this girl? Was that just?
Oh, did you really?
Was that just 18-year-old Scott like being blinded by beauty?
It might have been.
Like Seth Cohen.
It might have been partially.
But I think, and this is a formal prediction. I think we will see a softer side of Summer in the times to come.
Now Summer and Ryan have something in common.
What is that?
Summer and Ryan both stole something in this episode.
Oh,
Scott.
they did.
They did. Summer decided to go in and surprise Marissa with 2 stolen champagne flutes. Like, hey, look what I got. And then the dynamic of Marissa and Summer is established.
Marissa pulled out look what I stole, and it was a big fucking bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
So I think that's like Summer is very much like the bad girl in the way that a lot of the kids of the show are, but I think it's establishing Marissa as more reckless and unsafe in a very different kind of way, right? Like, I mean, like, just think about it. Stealing 2 glasses of champagne versus stealing an entire bottle of vodka. I mean, that's a pretty big shift.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, and we see later in this episode, Marissa gets so trashed that she passes out, like to the point where her friends cannot get her up, cannot wake her up. That's not just going out drinking. I mean, Summer is drunk in this episode.
Yeah.
Coop is
Blackout.
sloshed. Yeah.
And that's what happens on this episode of Is This High School?
Is this high school? Are you talking about the after party?
Yes.
Oh my God. So yeah, the fashion show ends, and they go to an after party, and there's cocaine. There's threesomes in hot tubs. There's women in bikinis like dancing. There's people like making out up against the side of a wall. And granted, I've never been rich. And granted, I didn't go to very many parties in high school. I don't think this is what a high school party is like.
I don't think typically it is quite to this extent. Now, there might be a little bit of some of those things here and there. But this is like just the amalgamation of all things that could happen at a high school party.
Yeah, all together.
Yes.
And I actually love this because like when they walked into the fashion show, Seth Cohen says to Ryan, "Welcome to the dark side." The dark side of Newport being like this stuffy fashion show thing. And then when Ryan walks into the party, he says the same thing to Seth. He says, "Welcome to the dark side." And this is definitely, and I think Ryan says a little later, I think I could get in more trouble. I think I could get in less trouble where I'm from at the craziness of this party. I love that we're seeing this, like, it's all been like very like neat and clean. And then suddenly, oh boy, here's the
underbelly of the OC.
Yeah. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Now,
so
this after party.
There's
a lot of stuff that happens here, other than just all of these things that is happening in this high school.
Yeah.
This is where Marissa's boyfriend, we find out, you know what, if you didn't already think he was bad enough, let's add cheater to his rap sheet.
Yeah, he just like sees a girl and just says, "Hey, you want to get out of here?" And she's like, "What about Marissa?" And he's just like, "What's up?" He just pulls it out.
Yeah, he's awful.
He's awful.
And then Summer
gets a little trashed.
She's supposed to be into Seth. Is actually into
she's not
Ryan.
into Seth at all at this point.
That's why I said supposed to be. She's all about that Ryan.
She's gonna play him hot and cold.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Elyse? Could you explain hot?
Yeah. That means you're like all into him 1 minute and then you like give him the shoulder the other minute.
Okay, she definitely didn't do that. She played him hot and hot.
Well, yeah, she hadn't gotten to the cold part
She
yet.
grabbed his dick.
She got him hot and hot, and then she was going to turn away and him be like, "What?" And then she played him cold, but she didn't get to the cold because she found out he was from Chino.
Oh, yeah, because poor Seth Cohen walks up right when Summer's got her hands all over his area, which apparently was an improv bit from Rachel Bilson. I think it's funny because she spills on him and she goes to wipe it off, and while it's wiping it off, like aiming, I don't think she actually touches his junk. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but she's reaching for it. And Seth Cohen, and this is the only moment in the show where we played the two guys against each other. They're briefly adversaries, and I like that. Like, I think there's a version of the show in which they butt heads at first and then come together over time. I don't want that. I want them to be buddies from the get-go. I want them to have this connection, and that's what we see here.
Because it makes Ryan a good kid.
Yeah, because...
And it makes Seth the wanting to have friends.
Yeah, because he does want to have friends, and he feels betrayed by this guy. One of his first friends ever, and he feels betrayed by him, so he outs Ryan, and that's when we get the Chino. Oh, because he says, "Why don't you head back to Chino? There's probably a car you can steal in the parking lot." And then everyone knows Ryan's from Chino. He's a poor, and they immediately ostracize him because he's a poor. And
you know what? All that stuff that's at that high school party, they got that in Chino.
Yeah.
It's not that different.
Yeah. Only in Chino, you'll go to jail for doing it. In Newport Beach, you will be fine because
the people
you're
that
rich.
Got it in Newport, they got it from the people in Chino.
Of course they did.
Without those people from Chino, there wouldn't be any Newport.
So Seth's depressed. He's hanging out on the beach, and he gets jumped by some high school kids because it's just,
of course,
because they're just mean.
Because Luke sees Ryan. Oh no.
No, well, yeah.
I'm confused.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. It's not Luke that beats up Seth. It's other dudes. And then Ryan immediately comes to Seth's defense because that's the type of dude he is. Even though Seth just outed him in front of everyone, even though Seth was just a jerk to him because of a misunderstanding, he's still got his back because he's his boy, and he goes to defend him. And then Luke shows up, punches Ryan right in the face. And what does he say, Elyse?
"Welcome to the OC, bitch."
That is a huge line in this movie. This television show.
One of the most famous lines from the OC.
Did you know Orange County did not call itself the OC before this television show?
I did not.
And they do now. So good job, OC. You now call OC OC.
Pillar and
Did you also know that for the first time ever, Orange County is a Democratic county?
I did not.
It is, yeah.
Wow.
It switched from Republican to Democrat in 2018.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. Even the rich people don't like the president.
After this party, Scott, that just had so much that was going on to it, Marissa passes out. I think we've already talked about this. Her terrible friends, they abandon her.
Terrible friends.
They just leave her out in front with her purse there, and Ryan sees it.
Yeah.
And Ryan cares about other people.
Of course he does.
So we have to establish that one more time.
Yeah. Just in case you were not clear on it yet,
and the
Ryan,
way that we do that
good dude.
is we go over to Marissa, unconscious. We dig through her purse. We see there's no money. There are no keys. No car to steal. So he decides, I'll just take her back and ransom her. How much money can I get? I'm just kidding. He doesn't do that. But he does pick her up.
Yeah, but like, if anyone had seen him do this,
That's
this
what
would
they
be
would
a
have thought.
bad look.
Yes.
She's passed out, and he's bringing her back to his bedroom.
Yeah.
And he lays her down in the bed.
Yeah.
And of course, then he goes and sleeps on the floor because he's a nice dude, and he's just trying to make sure she doesn't have to sleep on the concrete in front of her house because her friends are awful. But then in the morning, she's mysteriously gone.
She's gone. Enter Kirsten.
Go
Only
ahead.
to find Seth hungover, beat up, and still in a suit. Which is a sight she's never seen before.
I love how honest he is about it all because he's never done anything bad in his life. So it just doesn't occur to him to lie at all. She's like, what happened to you? I got in a fight and I was drunk and I think I still am. It's like, it's the perfect kind of thing like where you wouldn't even think to lie about that stuff because you just don't do anything wrong ever. And of course, Kirsten's response to this is understandably, this criminal has been in my house for a day and has already caused my son to drink and get in a fight. And so she's like, I'm done. I am done. You gotta leave.
Yeah. But
he makes bacon first.
Oh, she goes outside to like ream Sandy after he comes in from a surf and leaves her to deal all of the waking up and finding out what happened to herself. And in the meantime, Ryan's in there with a full spread. He makes bacon,
oh my God.
eggs.
He puts out the orange juice. He makes coffee,
everything.
presumably.
Oh my gosh.
It's sweet. In case you were still unsure on if Ryan is a good guy or not. And the thing that I love about this is he's not doing it to try to convince her to let him to stay. I think he knows it's over. He's just doing it because
that's what he's done.
It's something he can do. It's what he does for his family, and it's what he can do for this family. And damn, I like Ryan. I like him a lot.
I like Ryan too. Yeah. So Sandy's doing what his wife says.
Got to take him back.
Takes him back to Chino, and then you know what?
What?
You walk in.
Where?
In the to Ryan's house.
And what's in there?
Nothing.
What?
But camera people outside. And that's it. Nobody's there except the camera crew.
There is a note that says, I couldn't catch all of the note. I saw part of it. It says, Ryan, I'm sorry. I just couldn't take it anymore. So his mother has just disappeared and abandoned him.
Poof, gone.
And now he definitely has nowhere to stay. And the show ends with Sandy Cohen saying, come on, let's get out of here. Presumably to head back to the OC to start the show. Now we've put all the pieces into place.
So yeah.
So that's episode 1, baby.
But we have a couple things that we want to touch on, Scott,
right.
this episode. We have a segment that is called That's So 2000s.
All right.
Where
what
we
is
watch
the segment?
during the episode and we pick out 3 things. And out of these 3 things, we have to pick which one of these 3 do we think is the most 2000s.
All right.
So
what are our nominees this week?
This week there's a quote by Miss Julie Cooper while she is fixing her hair. And she says, do you like my hair this straight or is it too Avril Lavigne?
Ooh, that's pretty 2000s.
Yes, that is pretty 2000s. Now the second one is the fashion show clothes, particularly the line Betsy Johnson.
Okay,
We refer to Betsy Johnson.
This is where you're important because I don't know anything about clothes and you are up on the 2000s
Betsy
clothes.
Johnson was all 2000s.
Who is Betsy Johnson? And
she's
what
a
does
fashion
she do?
designer.
And where did she go?
She actually had bankruptcy, and so her line is not really around much anymore.
My God.
I don't know if she's quite recovered, but she filed for bankruptcy.
You know who was probably doing her finances? Jimmy
Cooper. Yep. So we have that clothing line, and then Luke's puka shell necklace.
That's pretty fucking... You know, I never bought a puka shell necklace. I didn't think I could pull it off.
I had one.
I'm not going to say I didn't want to buy a puka shell necklace because I did want to buy a puka shell necklace because everyone I knew had one, but I never pulled the trigger, and I'm kind of glad for it now.
My grandparents brought me back one from Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool one.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. So, Elyse, what is your vote for the most 2000s thing of the episode?
I think my most 2000s is the Avril Lavigne quote.
The Avril Lavigne quote. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I think it is.
I'm going to go with the puka shell necklace. That's my vote.
Okay.
So, audience out there, what is the most 2000s thing of this episode? Is it one of these three choices? Did you have something else that you thought was even more 2000s than this? Let us know.
That's a good question. So we're going to recap, Scott.
All right.
We have all these characters. We've got relationships.
Relationship
this is a show
status.
about relationships. So first, Scott, our relationship status, still happily married, in love.
True.
Scott and Elyse.
It's always good to check
married
in on
and in
that.
love.
It's always good
just
to
want to
check
make
in on
sure that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Okay, but we also have Luke and Coop.
How's their relationship doing?
You know, not great. He's a cheater. She clearly wants to be with Ryan,
Yeah.
and all he wants is to beat up on people.
How do you rate their chance of success going forward?
I think on a scale of what?
1 to 10.
I think it's about a 2.
I think that's fair. A 2 is fair.
Yes.
All right.
So, Coop and Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
What about them, Scott?
A few pretty good moments. That look
Yeah.
she gives him at the fashion show.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty convincing.
Definitely.
It feels inevitable. So I'm going to give it
Star-crossed lovers.
an
Okay.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. Okay. Moving on next to Seth and Summer. Now, you know, this episode, Seth got some creep points.
Yeah, she did. She
So-
did hear him say, "I named my boat after her," and her
Yeah.
response was, "Ew, who are you?"
Yeah.
Not a great start. But Seth Cohen, the eternal optimist, says, "Not the way I thought I was going to have my first conversation with her, but hey, it was a first conversation."
So you know what? He sees the potential in it. So we're going to give him a solid 4.5.
I think that's fair.
4.5.
I think that's fair.
Yes.
I think that's fair.
Yes. So moving on to Sandy and Kirsten. Scott, what do you think about them? Parents.
I think they have a strong, solid marriage, but there's a hint of drama here, right?
Yes, there is.
She was the wild child in her youth. Clearly, she was the
She had a
daughter,
moment.
the daughter of the rich person that went out and married the poor kid.
Lived in the back of a mail truck.
Yeah. We get told here that she almost married Jimmy, her neighbor, at one point.
Yes,
They were
isn't
very
that
close, and we see at
interesting?
several points throughout this episode, she is much more observant of Jimmy than just about anyone else in the show. She sees
Yes.
something's wrong with him.
They
so,
still live by each other.
yeah, they live right next. So I think we're in for a rocky time for these two in the future.
Okay.
But I think right now I'm going to give them a 6 because
6,
I
okay.
think their marriage is strong. But I think this whole bringing this boy in thing, Kirsten's not too happy with her
Okay.
husband right now.
Which brings us to the other married couple that we met on the show. That is Jimmy and Julie Cooper.
Disaster.
So, you know, on a scale from 1 to 10.
I'm going to give them a 1.
I think we have a whole other side of the number line. We get into negative integers, and we might dip into that territory.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Can I
Yes, please do.
formal prediction?
Yes.
Obviously, Jimmy has committed fraud in some way, or he is
Yeah.
bankrupted,
Okay.
or he's out of money. Julie Cooper does not seem like the type of woman that's going to hang around a dude that doesn't have
Why
money.
would you think that, Scott?
Just because of everything in this episode. So I'm going to say this is his problems will be exposed. She will say bye-bye, and they're definitely going to fail.
So that is the first part of this next segment that I did not get to introduce because you just jumped right on into it.
Well, that's the only prediction I had.
Oh,
so,
that's the only prediction that you
I
have.
don't want to make any other. I don't
No
want to
other
get too.
Scott's
I don't
predictions.
want to get
Okay.
too into the prediction game because, like, some of it I don't remember if I'm remembering it or if I'm just actually come up to
Okay.
a theory. So,
Okay.
all right. So that is it for episode 1, season 1 of the OC. That was fun, Elyse. I hope
Yes,
you
it was
enjoyed
fun.
that.
But before we say goodbye,
We
Scott,
have to do a thing.
Before we say
I
goodbye.
promised everyone and I promised Elyse that at the end of every
Yes.
show, if an episode of The Bachelor is currently playing in some shape or form, I would let Elyse do a brief
because these are the types of
Brief.
people that these OC children will
Brief.
turn into one day.
Brief.
So it's Bachelor in Paradise. So all that I really want to talk about is the hexagonal, pentagonal, whatever it is,
So,
relationship
can we-
that's surrounding Blake.
Can we just can we back up for a quick second here?
Yes.
Let's assume that we are going to have new listeners who are attracted to our podcast because we're talking about the OC.
Okay.
And so, hi, new listeners.
possible.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hope you're enjoying it.
I hope you watch The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise.
What Bachelor in Paradise is for those people that might not know?
All of the people who did not find love on their season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, or they found it and then have since broken up with whoever they were with, are sent to this resort in Mexico in order to date each other.
While intoxicated.
Yeah,
yes. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yes. So
season, talk to me about this.
There's a storyline that has, become quite prevalent around Blake.
Who is Blake? Remind me. I don't remember.
So Blake was the runner-up in Becca's season.
Becca. That was the boring one.
Yes. The one with Garrett.
Yeah.
Anyways, so before they got to the island, Blake went to Stagecoach. Prior to going to Stagecoach.
What is Stagecoach for those of us who are not
festival.
Cool?
It was a music festival. And prior to Stagecoach, Blake had been friends with a girl who is on the show, on Bachelor in Paradise and on The Bachelor, named Christina. He was also talking to another girl that had been on the most recent season of The Bachelor. Her name was Kaylin. He'd been talking to her for about 3 months, so they meet at Stagecoach. Blake decides to have a one-night stand with Christina. Then the following night, he decides to have a one-night stand with Kaylin.
Hey!
Then Blake decides that he's going to go on Bachelor in Paradise. Before he goes on Bachelor in Paradise, actually while he's in bed with Kaylin, he decides to slide into Hannah G's DMs.
While he's in bed with her?
Then,
that's bold.
Yes, then before Bachelor in Paradise, about a week before, he decides to fly out to Alabama to hang out with Hannah. They have lunch. He kisses Hannah. Then he decides to go to Bachelor in Paradise. At Bachelor in Paradise, he pretends like nothing happened with any of the three ladies, then decides on his date card that he gets he's going to take Tayshia out on a date.
Damn, dude.
So he takes Tayshia out on a date.
I have a very important question about this guy. Does he drive a big black truck and wear a puka shell necklace?
He might.
Because I kind of see him
like
as the type of
guy,
person that is the Luke.
Yeah.
The Luke. I could see him punching someone in the face and saying, "Welcome to BIP, bitch. Welcome to the BIP, bitch."
Yeah. Oh, we haven't seen tonight's episode, but there's a fight.
Uh-oh.
Last week was a cliffhanger because your boy Jordan.
My boy? Why is Jordan my boy?
Male model Jordan.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
I love him.
You should watch tonight
my God,
just so that you can see him get in a fight.
He's going to lose that fight. He is all talk and no force.
He initiates it.
Really?
Yeah. He goes over and he takes a piñata off of a little whatever canopy area, whatever it is, cabana area. Mm-hmm. He's like, "You're not going to treat my friend that way. He's my friend, and I don't think that's acceptable. I'm going to take this piñata down." And so he starts taking it down, and the guy gets upset. And so he
what does piñata have to do with anything?
The guy that was trying to steal his friend's girl got a piñata.
This is like, I didn't love the pilot of the OC. It's so much better written than this Bachelor stuff.
Well, yeah, they don't do really good writing.
Way more cocaine too. In
Probably.
In a teenage show.
Probably.
You'd think.
Yeah, so anyway, there's that whole Blake drama that's going on. And then there's the whole issue with Demi too. Well, not really issue, but there's this whole side line with Demi. Because,
Demi Moore?
No, Demi, the blonde girl, Demi. She was on the most recent episode or the most recent season of The Bachelor. And then she came on The Bachelorette and was trying to help Hannah out. And she found the one of the guys that was supposed to have a girlfriend back home. Long blonde hair. She's from Red Oak. Her mom was the one that was in prison.
Demi is a spell in the Final Fantasy series that deals damage based on your total hit points. So it deals like a percentage of your total hit points.
Well, Demi has been with this guy, Derek, on Bachelor in Paradise. But prior to coming on the show, she'd been dating a woman. And she hadn't told anybody that. And then she finally came out and said it to Derek, as well as some of her other friends. And she's just trying to kind of figure it out, whether she likes Derek or whether she likes his girl that's back home. And then on tonight's episode,
the girl shows up?
Yeah, I think the girl's supposed to show up.
Of course she does, because they got to milk that drama, because LGBT people in the show are just a gimmick. They don't actually care about them. They're just a gimmick. Great. Love it. Bachelor in Paradise. Best show ever.
Anyway, that's pretty much what's going on in Bachelor in Paradise. I haven't seen tonight's episode, so I can't really comment on the fight.
More on that next week. Yeah. Speaking of next week, what are we doing?
We're just working our way through, Scott.
What is the next episode?
Season 1, episode 2, called The Model Home.
The Model Home.
Yes.
I wonder if that's a play on words or if it's literally about a model home or if it's like how the Coens are the model home for somebody like
I don't
Ryan.
know, Scott, but that's all we have time for this week. So if you like this podcast, you can check out all the other shows that we do over on doofmedia.com.
I want to talk about one of those shows real quick.
Okay.
I want to talk about a show called Do the Right Thing. If you're listening to this show and you are a writer, it's Do the Right Thing, WRITE. If you are a writer, if you like writing, go listen to the show and then participate in the show. Because do you know what the show is about, Elyse? Have I explained this to you?
It was 4 words that are given. They have to use 3 of the 4 words, and they have only 30 minutes to compose a story using 3 of those.
It's basically
words.
a writing prompt show that encourages you to write by giving you this simple thing. And the cool thing about it is 30 minutes is not that much time to write. So I can't write good stuff in 30 minutes. Most people can't write something good in 30 minutes. They can just write something. So you just do the thing. You do the right thing. And it doesn't matter if you don't have to worry about how good your thing is. The point is just getting the work and doing the exercise. So our 2 hosts, Matthias and Jarvis, write their own and then read their stories. And they sometimes have a guest who reads their story as well. And then they talk about what they learned in the process, what they liked about their stories, what it taught them about writing. And they also go through, our listeners can submit stories as well. And they go through and read some of those. So it's a really cool show. It's new to our network. And I really like it. I really enjoy it. So if you are a writer or you just like listening to people talk about writing, check out Do the Right Thing. You can see that on our website, doofmedia.com.
Also, if you like that show or even like this show, you can consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/doofmedia.
There we go.
Right. And Scott, they can donate in a variety of different price levels, right? What are some of those price levels that they can donate at?
One of those price levels is $1.
What can you get for $1, Scott, other than Doof Media?
You get access to... Oh, other than that?
Other than access to, yes. Other than this stuff. What are they going to forego their $1 in order to get this?
A bag of Gardettos in the vending machine at my office.
And you know what? Nobody else here works with you, so they can just save that $1 and donate it to Doof.
There we go.
Yes.
And you shouldn't do that anyway because you brought your lunch and there's no need to go to the vending machine, Scott.
How many times have you been doing this?
I don't want to talk about it.
Scott?
Yes?
I provide you snacks that are healthy for you to take to work.
At the $5 level,
yes,
you get access to our monthly hangout session every month. On one day, a few members of the Doof Squad get together and we have conversations. Sometimes it's a Q&A. So I think this week we're doing it this Friday and we're playing a game called Jackbox, which is like a bunch of online party games. And our patrons will be able to come and watch us and interact with us as we have fun. And everyone at that level and above gets to do that. It's our newest level, our $5 level. We've been talking about doing this forever. One day we'll see you on there, Elyse. You can come hang out. So that's...
I don't really like to chill.
Yeah, just like the doof. So I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff you can get. You can head on to patreon.com/doofmedia and see all of that stuff.
Right. And so also, if you happen to be listening via Apple Podcasts, why don't you head on over there and drop us a rating and a review? Scott, have you checked on if now that we have kind of switched over, can they leave us a new rating or review, or is that not possible because it's on the same stream?
If they have left us a review in the past, I did confirm they cannot leave a new one. They can edit their review to include stuff about the OC and Whatcha Say, but no, they cannot leave a fresh new review. But if you have not left a review before, please do, because it absolutely helps us. It helps new people find us. It is the Apple podcasts algorithm loves reviews. They love it.
I would even beg to say that if you have left a review and it wasn't over our new show, Whatcha Say, then maybe you should go ahead and edit and update that. I mean, you can leave the old stuff, but add the new stuff too, so that then when people are searching and it's like, oh, what's an OC podcast? Then we pop up.
Yeah. And while you're leaving that review, why don't you review the excellent artwork that may or may not be there right now?
It's really cool if it is. And if it's not, I'm sure it will be
It'll be there soon. It'll be there soon. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed this inaugural episode of this podcast. We're still trying to get the format under wraps. I think I like what we did today, but let us know what you think. You like this? Did you have fun?
I did.
Are you watching the OC with us?
I am.
I'm talking to the listener. I know I'm making eye contact with you, but I'm talking to the microphone. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We'll see you guys next week, baby.
Yep.
Welcome to the OC.
I love you.